Chapter 1, The Way It Used to Be. The chapter begins with these quotes, first from George Orwell. Whoever controls the image and information of the past determines what and how future generations will think. Whoever controls the information and images of the present determines how those same people will view the past.
Experiments have shown that less than 1 minute after the viewer begins to watch television, the brain switches from beta-level consciousness, associated with active and logical thought, to alpha level, which is associated with passive acceptance and suggestibility. This is why advertisers spend billions of dollars a year on commercials, as well as product placement within TV shows.
The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed. Our minds are molded, our tastes are formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we've never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized.
The year is 1917. And Representative Oscar Callaway enters a disturbing statement into the U.S. congressional record. The statement reveals why J.P. Morgan interests hired 12 high-ranking news managers. The 12 were asked to determine the most influential newspapers in America. They were to figure out how many news organizations it would take to control generally the policy of the daily press of the United States. The 12 found it was only necessary to purchase the control of 25 of the greatest papers. An agreement was reached. The policy of the papers was bought, and an editor was placed at each paper to ensure that all published information was in keeping with the new policy. Just as global crises are trumpeted as reasons to centralize government power, the media also manipulates local events to serve that goal as well. Take, for example, the gun. It's what the media blames for an epidemic of violence in our own backyard. In almost every story having to do with violence, the presence of a gun is the villain. Tragedies such as the shootings at Columbine are exploited to convince the public that the gun itself is to be more feared than those misusing it.
Further complicating the lives of police officers is a new issue, the arming of the general public. Gun violence has increased dramatically in every sector of our society, but most alarmingly, with children.
As a culture of violence persists, its backlash has teens caught in a crossfire.
With so many guns in the hands of mostly untrained civilians, officers have no idea what they might face when they respond to a call. It's a recipe for disaster.
The media's message is clear. Americans will be a lot better off without guns. The mainstream media continues to portray the arrest of Rodney King as a gang of racist police beating a black victim.
It began, as we remember, after white policemen were seen on videotape beating a black man named Rodney King.
4 white police officers in the beating of black motorist Rodney King.
Captured by chance on home video, the arrest quickly became a national sensation. In the months that followed, the establishment media hyped this local event to the point that many Americans considered it to represent police behavior nationwide.
This could be any one of 20 major cities or more in the country. It's a time bomb that's ticking under the foundations of America's major cities and under our country itself.
To curb police brutality across the nation.
The verdict of not guilty for King's arresting officers served as the match that lit the fuse. Instantly, the media implied that the jury was a bunch of redneck racists.
We do have a society which is still racist. A mostly white jury in rural Simi Valley cannot have any appreciation of what black people in south central Los Angeles go through when dealing with the Los Angeles Police Department. There the man was on the ground, covering up toward the end, being beaten to insensitivity, and this all-white jury decided that the police were the good guys.
Yet the testimony of 58 witnesses and over 200 exhibits presented at the trial revealed to the jury much of what the media kept hidden. King attracted Highway Patrol attention because he was driving recklessly at speeds of up to 115 miles per hour. His arrest culminated an 8-mile chase in which he cut across numerous lanes of expressway traffic and ran red lights. King was a convicted felon, out on parole for armed robbery. There were 2 other black passengers in King's car, but they cooperated with the officers, were handcuffed, and later released without incident. King was under the influence of drugs and alcohol. King initially ignored police orders to step out of the car. When he did come out, he began acting erratically, dancing around. Then he shook his backside in a lewd gesture at a female police officer. Ignoring officers' demands to get down on the ground, King was tackled by 4 officers. He rose up and threw off the officers. An officer attempted to subdue King with a stun gun, but even the taser darts fired at King failed to keep this out-of-control 260-pound man down. At this point, the arrest was recorded on home video. Like the jury, you were about to witness the first few seconds that the media carefully avoided broadcasting. King is seen rising up and charging one of the arresting officers. The response of the officers is history. Although people may look at the same evidence and disagree with the verdict, the fact remains: the media withheld critical information from the American people in order to make the facts fit the story it wanted to tell. The story implies that local law enforcement is a failed institution and that radical changes are needed.
The major media have succeeded to a shocking extent in creating an impression for the general public that local police are not to be supported, not to be trusted, they are to be feared, and that, on the other hand, we can trust implicitly in the federal law enforcement agencies who will come into our communities and protect us against the local police. Local police exist to protect the rights and the liberties and the property of the law-abiding, and they are accountable to the communities that they serve. National police, on the other hand, would exist to protect the interests of the state and the political elite that controls the state.
Now, what do you think about some of the issues that's going on in the world? Because I know you speak upon it all the time. Gun laws. That's something that's big.
Bullshit.
And guns are illegal in Atlanta.
Guns are legal.
Legal or illegal or legal?
Guns are legal.
Legal in Atlanta, not in New York. Legal.
I have
in
a lot
Atlanta.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from a part of the country where guns are legal. I think every American can and should own a firearm.
Why?
Because it's our right. And because I've been around the world and I've seen what countries who don't have that right are like.
But you don't think with so many people using these guns that are legal and doing these massacres?
When you say so many, put a real number on it, because you're giving an opinion. That's not a fact.
I don't know the exact number.
Stop
but
it at I don't know.
We see it all the time, though.
But just, no, we don't see it all the time.
We do.
You see it when the news wants you to see it.
We do. We do see it all the time.
If you saw it all the time, you'd be hearing a story about Chicago every day.
We do see a story about Chicago. Charlamagne.
No, you see a story about Chicago now. No, absolutely not. We watch the same news. I watch CNN. I watch ESPN.
It depends what the story is.
Yeah, you don't see a story.
Every day is a kid shot in Chicago. Every day is somebody shot in Chicago.
No, you're just saying that. You're saying that now there's a story, but 2 years ago you weren't saying that.
2 years ago, we weren't.
And I'm going to tell you something funny. Crime and gun violence is less than it was 20 years ago when we were children. There's less gun violence now when we were children. But somehow we're like the world is a more dangerous place. You know, if you are familiar with MK Ultra, if you're familiar with how government set up to take the rights of people, you've seen all that happen before.
What's the underlying issue with the gun laws, you think? Like,
the underlying issue with gun laws, I think, is that at some point, why did FEMA just buy 1 million hollow point bullets?
I don't know.
Exactly. What happened to the prisoners who were on the expressway in New Orleans that never got found again once the flood happened?
I don't know.
Okay. They got killed. Why would FEMA buy 1 million bullets?
Sound like they want to go to war.
With who?
Great question.
Why did we now repeal the law that made it illegal for United States soldiers to enter your house, take and kill you? Why did that get repealed? Why is the Patriot Act in effect? Because at some point in the near or far future, this country is going to become a country in which you don't have the rights you have now. And the only thing that has ever stood in opposition to that in America is the fact that the citizenry is armed. If you do not have an armed citizenry, you have a controlled population. I will not be controlled by anyone. I will have no masters. I will die defending that right.
Do you think that people should have to undergo some type of mental screening and tests and all of that?
You don't have to go under mental screening. You have to go to a test to get a car, but you don't have to go through a mental screening. You can't control crazy. I could wake up tomorrow and be schizophrenic and not notice. Like, if you went to Palestine today and said, would you guys like weapons? What would they say?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. If you went to a occupied African country and asked the regular citizenry, would you like to have guns? They say absolutely. So Americans, stop giving your rights up. I'm not saying get a gun and go shoot people, but I'm saying get a firearm. Get firearm training. When I go on tour and I'm not with the wifey, sometimes she's a little afraid. The last time I came off tour, it was a few weeks ago, I got back and it was real dark and I opened the door and I didn't tell I was coming. I was on some sneak. Whoa. And I came and I bumped the chair and she had put a chair in front of the door. You know that white women. And I'm like, oh, could have tripped and fell. She mama getting smart. And then I went in the bed and I said, lots of lumps on the other side of the bed. We sleep with 2 shotguns on the bed. There's a 12-gauge Mossberg here. There's a 12-gauge Mossberg here. And when I pull the covers back, loaded, cocked, right next to her was a 12-gauge Mossberg. So I don't have any worries about her when she's at home alone, because I know if you kick in my door, by the time you get to that bedroom door, if you're lucky enough to open it, you're going to be missing this. And that makes me sleep better when I'm on.
And I don't think people know martial law. I don't think y'all realize martial law is in full effect.
Yeah, martial law
is in Brooklyn right now.
You could have been killed, Killer Mike.
Yeah, I could have. It would have been sexy though.
It would have been sexy.
But listen, before Mike goes, I want him to explain the Do Dope Hope shirt, because a lot of people will be watching this video and be like, "You talking all this positive shirt says Do Dope."
Well, it's satire. Satire is what Mark Twain did. You guys look him up. Do Dope Hope is what medicine companies are telling you every day.
It's gonna be blurred, so you gotta say it. You gotta say it the correct way, because it's gonna be blurred.
Oh, Do Dope F Hope.
Yeah, Do Dope. Don't work out. Don't get healthier. Don't eat better.
Yeah,
just take the pill. Or that's what you're told every day on your TV commercials. So I know when people see this, they're shocked and all like, "What are you saying?" But we never look at a Pfizer commercial and get angry. We never look at a Vitra or whatever selling you. We never look at all this. Be like, this is not healthy for me. I sat next to a lawyer who prosecutes pharmaceutical companies on a plane ride here, and he said to me, "Mike, you know what's funny?" I was like, "What's up?" He said, "Never use a drug that they first drop, because I'm guaranteeing you within 2 years, people are going to start dying and get sick." And that's kind of how they figured out how to adjust it to make it healthy for everyone else. And I was kind of amazed by that, because it's legal.